Join me as I challenge myself to let go of all my worries and embrace perfect peace for a whole week. Let's see how it goes. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by worry? The kind of worry that keeps you up at night, replaying every problem in your mind, imagining every worst-case scenario? What if, instead of being consumed by worry, you could experience a peace so deep, so perfect, that nothing could shake it? That kind of peace is possible, not through the world, but through God Himself. Worry is one of the most common struggles we face. It creeps in quietly, through bills that need paying, relationships that feel uncertain, or fears about the future. It takes hold of our thoughts, our emotions, even our physical health. But the truth is, worry doesn't change the outcome. It only steals our peace. That's why the Bible calls us to cast all our cares upon the Lord, because He cares for us. The world we live in gives us plenty of reasons to worry. We're surrounded by uncertainty, financial instability, family struggles, global unrest, and personal pain. It's easy to feel anxious when everything around us seems unstable, but God never designed us to carry these burdens alone. He invites us into His presence, where peace replaces panic and faith overcomes fear. Jesus Himself said, "Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself." Each day has enough trouble of its own. Those words aren't a suggestion, they're a lifeline. They remind us that when we fix our eyes on God instead of our problems, we can rest in His perfect peace. Think about how often worry steals joy from your life. You might wake up in the morning already thinking about what could go wrong. You might spend hours worrying about things that never even happen. Worry creates storms in our minds that God never intended us to carry. It blurs our vision and blocks us from seeing His hand at work. Maybe right now, you're facing something that feels impossible, a broken relationship, a health diagnosis, or a financial setback. You've prayed, but you're still restless. You've trusted, but you still feel uneasy. That's because peace isn't the absence of problems. It's the presence of God in the middle of them. In Philippians 4:6-7, we're told, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus." That's not just a promise, it's a divine exchange. When we bring our worries to God in prayer, He replaces them with peace beyond our understanding. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. What are you worried about today? Is it your future, your family, your health? Whatever it is, God already knows. He's not distant or unaware. He's waiting for you to release it into His hands. Because peace begins where control ends. I once heard a story of a man who was constantly anxious about his job, his family, and his future. He prayed, but his heart still raced with fear every night. One day, he decided to write down every single thing that worried him and place the paper inside his Bible, right next to Philippians 4:6. Every time he felt worry creeping in, he'd open his Bible, read that verse, and remind himself that God was already working on it. Weeks later, he realized something powerful. Most of the things he had written down never even happened, and for the few that did, God carried him through every single one of them. That's what peace looks like. Not a life free from trouble, but a heart anchored in trust. The problem with worry is that it convinces us we're in control, that if we think about something long enough, maybe we can fix it. But worry is the opposite of faith. Faith says, God can. Worry says, what if He doesn't? And the more we feed worry, the more it grows. But when we feed our faith, peace begins to bloom. God's peace isn't something you earn, it's something you receive. Isaiah 26:3 says, You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are stayed on you because they trust in you. Perfect peace comes when our focus shifts from our problems to His promises. When our minds stay fixed on Him, worry loses its power. I know that surrendering worry isn't easy. Sometimes it feels like if we stop worrying, we're not being responsible. But trust me, faith doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start trusting. It means you believe that even when you can't see the way forward, God already has a plan. There was a woman who once told her story about losing everything: her job, her savings, even her home. For months she cried and prayed, asking God for a breakthrough. Then one night, she prayed differently. Instead of asking for things to change, she simply said, "Lord, I'm tired. I give you everything, my fear, my worry, my future." And for the first time in months, she slept peacefully. Days later, unexpected doors began to open: a new job, a place to live, and the strength to rebuild. She said, "The moment I stopped worrying was the moment peace found me." That's what happens when we truly let go. When we surrender our worries, we make room for God's peace to take over. And His peace doesn't depend on circumstances. It comes from knowing who He is. You can be in the middle of a storm and still have peace because you know who's in the boat with you. So today, I want to encourage you. Whatever is weighing on your heart, whatever is stealing your sleep, give it to God. Tell Him, "Lord, take away my worry and replace it with your perfect peace." Let that be your prayer, not just today, but every day. Because every time you hand over your fears to Him, He replaces them with faith. Every time you trade your anxiety for worship, your spirit becomes stronger. Every time you choose peace over panic, you remind the enemy that your trust is in God, not in the storm. The journey from worry to peace is not about escaping life's problems. It's about discovering God's presence in the middle of them. And once you experience His perfect peace, nothing in this world can take it away. So the next time worry comes knocking, don't open the door. Whisper a prayer instead. "Lord, I trust you. I release this into your hands," and then rest. Because peace isn't found in control, it's found in surrender. If this message has spoken to your heart, take a moment to share your experience in the comments. Have you ever seen God replace your worry with His peace? Your story could be the encouragement someone else needs today. And if you want more prayers, reflections, and faith-filled encouragement, be sure to subscribe and join this growing family of believers. Together, we'll keep learning how to live with less fear and more faith. Because where God's peace reigns, worry loses its voice.